Hi, everybody, and welcome to Live with Obsessed. I'm Annette Densham, and I'm joined this afternoon by the lovely Sally Kellet. We're going to talk mindfulness and meditation and all of those things. But I think from what I've read is we're going to bust a few myths as well, and I don't mind a good myth busting. So Sally Kellet is a meditation teacher, and she does this professionally. She's certified sound meditation practitioner, and she's the founder of Mirasuna, a wellbeing hub and mindfulness studio in Melbourne. A lot of people in Melbourne need a bit of mindfulness now, and it's created for busy professionals to truly recharge. Sally, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me, and hello to everyone who's watching this.
Yeah, it's like, hey. So tell me, what is it about? Let's get straight into this because I know that you're really passionate
Yeah,
about busting myths and stereotypes around mindfulness. And, like a lot of people think that you've got to sit around, you've got to go and you've got to have the cushion, and you've got to have the bells tinkling and in the lights and
and the
all of
clothes.
that. And yeah, and the perfect active gear and the right mat. So, where are we going wrong when we think about mindfulness?
I think like a lot of people think of it as just exactly everything you just described. And when they don't want to wear those clothes or sit in a room with a certain stereotype, wearing certain clothes, chanting Om, they automatically think mindfulness is not for me. But the sad part to that is mindfulness is actually for everybody. In fact, we're all already doing it because as humans, we have a level of awareness already. So we are already doing it. And it is just unfortunate that society sort of painted this picture that is so wrong about what mindfulness is. And so I'm out there really trying to set the record straight that it actually involves none of that. And in fact, if someone is practicing mindfulness or is a mindful person, you don't even look a certain way. It could just be anybody. Oh, I can't hear you.
There you go. I was just being mindfully mute. So that's a really interesting point because I guess it's a little bit like when you're looking at people who wear active wear, and I'm sorry, I'm not insulting people who wear active wear, and they have this look, and and a lot of people who don't fit that stereotype think that, well, I can't go and do that because I don't. And I guess that's what you've just said, isn't it? Is that there is no stereotype. There really is mindfulness open to everyone.
Yeah, like, I mean, I don't wear active wear. I find it really uncomfortable, personally. I probably don't have the right body for it either. I don't know, like, there is that stereotype, I guess. At Mirasuna, we always say it's comfort wear over active wear because you just need to be comfortable in your own skin. And it isn't about looking a certain way and worrying about what you're wearing or how you're looking, because if you're always worried about that, then you can't actually tune in to what's happening inside. So, like when I was on my pilgrimage last year training at the monastery with nuns, there's no tight clothing. Like it's literally robes, like loose robes. And a really good thing about that is that I can move freely in my meditation and I don't feel constricted in any sort of way, especially when I'm trying to take deep breaths. So, yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
really big advocate for comfort wear over active wear.
Yeah, I like that. I like the sound of that much better. I'm built for comfort, not built for activeness. So that's really cool. So you went to a monastery last year to study. How did
Yeah.
you how did that come about?
I've been studying Buddhism since like about 7 years ago with my Buddhist teacher Jean, and I always wanted to go on a pilgrimage as I got more and more into my studies and as mindfulness changed my life in bigger and greater ways. I always thought, you know what, one day I'm going to immerse myself in this experience and just live the nun life. And so the perfect opportunity came. I was in between my two jobs, and I said, I could not think of anything better to do than to spend all this time by myself with a group of spiritual people that have the same values. So yeah, then I just took off and went, and my mum thought I was crazy.
I guess a lot of people, and the thing that surprised me the most about that whole statement was that your teacher is called Jean.
Yeah,
Didn't
yeah,
expect that.
Yes, and actually, like through the pilgrimage, I actually now have 2 extra nun teachers as well, which is very, very life-changing and beautiful as well. So
Oh, that sounds amazing. That is it. Was that like one of the Vipassana?
no,
Vipassana?
no, it was actually just in Truk Lam in Đài Lạt. The monastery is called Truk Lam Monastery in Đài Lạt, Vietnam. So it's on top of a mountain, and they train in Mahayana Buddhism. So yeah, you can talk, and there's like 19-hour long days. Gardening took 5 hours. It was
Wow,
crazy. Yeah.
that is crazy. Like that's a real commitment to learning and
Yeah.
growing.
A lot of discipline, and just watching how they live just completely made me realize that we have it so wrong. Like we honestly just have it so wrong here sometimes, the way that we look at life and the things that are important to people. And yeah, so I really want to bring a little bit of that back to Western society.
Yeah. So what are we doing wrong? I'm intrigued. What is it that we could be doing better and living? I guess we don't have to become Buddhist, do we, to follow
No,
the Buddhist philosophy?
no, I'm not. I've not. I've never been religious in my life. My job is really to deliver the teachings without the religious part of it. But one thing that I really think that we could be doing better of in society is just simplifying our lives. You know, and this is something that the nuns would talk to me about every day. They have rules. They have 250 approximately there, 250 rules that they have to live by. And a few of the rules is you can't watch TV. You can't read the magazine. You can't read the news. There's none of that external stimulus. And, you might say, oh, well, we can't do that in this world. And yeah, I mean, we need to know what's happening, right? But there's a difference between constantly getting attached to that and letting all of that make you fearful and setting your tone for your life, as opposed to you just seeing it and not becoming attached to it and not worrying too much about it and just continuing with your own journey. So that's one way that we can simplify our lives. Another rule that they actually have there is very strict around the friendship circles. So
Okay.
when you're a nun in the first 2 years, or even up to 5 years, depending on your progress, you can't have your mobile. You can't have your social media channels, and you actually can't talk to anyone that isn't a nun. So you can't talk to a lay person, which is somebody who isn't who hasn't committed to that life. So that is designed because they feel like people in your life can be a distraction. Like there's so many negative people in our lives, and there's so many things that happen that actually distract us from our own practice. And so that's what I mean by simplifying our lives. Bit of a Marie Kondoing, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, I didn't realize there were so many rules.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I might need to work up to that one.
We can start with like one or two.
Yeah, let's start with one or two. So, what out of all of those rules, what one do you think that people from Western culture could really benefit from?
I think one of the rules would be to simplify your friendship circles. Definitely, start trying to look at who is actually in your life and try to let go or move on maybe from people who aren't really helping you in a way that makes you happy, or some people kind of like what do they call them, energy vampires, or people who make you really negative. Try and stay away from people who you feel like you're always gossiping with them, or talking about unproductive things that actually don't add to your practice or don't make you both a better person. That would be one of my key takeaways, and something that I definitely do in my own life now.
I think that's a really good one, especially with social media. You like go, oh my God, I've got 5,000 friends. And it's like, who could possibly have time for 5,000 friends? I'm
That's it.
exhausted just thinking about it.
Yeah.
So, is like, so mindfulness for a lot of people are like going, oh my God, that's just woo woo weird stuff. It's not really, is it?
No, no, not at all. We are very literally changing our brain when we practice being mindful. And I think people think it's woo because maybe they don't understand the real definition of what mindfulness is. or maybe they feel like it's something that only females should practice or do practice. Maybe it's a bit too feminine and they feel almost like, you know, oh, I don't want to hang out with those kind of people, you know, like it's like it changes they feel like it changes the way other people see them, or they feel like they don't conform to the sitting around chanting om with, you know, drop crotch pants or something like that, which at Mirasuna is none of that. We like at Mirasuna, I go so far to try and make people understand that mindfulness is just a practice of the mind, that I have yin and tonic events where we, and wine down, where we combine a bit of fun with a glass or a drink with some stretches and mindfulness.
Oh, now I'm moving to Melbourne. The
You could get used
borders
to
are
that.
open soon. Yes, that sounds like amazing, because I guess for a lot of people they think of this whole thing as that there's a certain level of behavior or
Mm.
how you show up. It has to be, very serious. But
Yeah, no,
I guess as human beings we're so diverse and different, that why shouldn't
exactly.
mindfulness be diverse and different?
Exactly. Everyone has their own style. It's not just that you have to meditate. Like, that's only one way or one tool of practicing mindfulness. And that's the other problem, is that society's kind of got it mixed up where they think mindfulness is meditation, but they're actually completely different things. And so when someone thinks, oh no, I can't meditate, my mind is too busy, mindfulness is not for me. But they're mixing the two and they're actually very different.
So tell us, what is mindfulness and why is it different to
Mm.
meditation?
So, mindfulness is the awareness of your mind, your body, and your speech. So, a lot of people say mindfulness is being present in the moment. Yes, it is, but I challenge them to think deeper about what that truly means. What are you really being present about? Well, we can break it down into three things: our mind, what are we thinking? What are the quality of our thoughts? Is it good thoughts? Is it harmful thoughts? Is it useless chatter? Is it gossip? Is it anger? What is that? And then that's the mind. The body, being mindful of our body, is what are we physically doing with our body? You know, are we using our arms and our legs to go and help people, like, you know, do charity, or help mothers clean prams, or, you know, well, there are so many different charities like St Kilda Mums and stuff. And like, or are we using our body to physically harm someone or something, like kill an animal or hurt a human being, or, you know what I mean? I mean, like, no one's out there hurting human beings, hopefully, but that's a bad act of the body. That's a negative act of the body. And then the final one is the speech. So, what are we saying? What is the quality of our speech? Are we saying like kind and uniting speech where we bring people together? Or are we being divisive and trying to separate people with idle gossip? So that's how I interpret mindfulness. Very Eastern philosophy inspired. Yeah. So mindfulness is the act of being aware of the mind, body, and speech. And it's different to meditation because meditation is just a tool to be mindful. But, you know, if you do yoga or Tai Chi or gardening or washing the dishes, as long as you're focusing on your mind, body, and speech, being totally, wholly, solely present in this moment, that is practicing mindfulness. So there are many, many tools.
I guess it's like when people say, like if you're trying to lose weight, eat mindfully. And I
Yeah.
guess that's around, instead of going, oh, I've got to get this food down, to go, okay, I'm going to savor each bite. I'm going to experience the flavors. I'm going to experience the sensation
Mm,
on my tongue, and I'm going to, enjoy the aromas that are coming from the
mm,
food, or even, and I guess for a lot of people, particularly in business, is that I know, and I'm guilty of this, is sitting at my desk working and like going, okay. And I've been trying very hard that when I have lunch, is I move away from my desk
yeah,
and I
that's
go sit and I eat my lunch. So I'm being
good.
mindful.
Exactly. Absolutely. And
I
I
think,
just want to go, well, you mentioned a really good point about people who are eating and trying to lose weight, and, you know, they're like eating it, eating it. One of the things I want to comment on there is a quick technique is to practice your intention. So if you're trying to lose weight or gain weight and you're trying to change your eating habits, instead of seeing it like oh, I can't eat that much. I'm so hungry. Like, look at how small my portion is. Or like, oh, look at how much I actually have to eat to stuff myself full. Instead of thinking about it that way, we can think of it as, if I eat what's in front of me, which I have carefully, so lovingly prepared, that is good for my body, portion wise, ingredients wise, then I am ultimately going to achieve my goals and have a healthier mind, body, and spirit to then be of more benefit to myself and then to other people. And so your intention becomes losing weight or gaining weight because of love,
Oh, I
self care,
like
self
that.
love, you
Yeah,
know?
and it doesn't even have to be verbal, does it?
Yeah, no.
You could be thinking, like, as you're pouring your tea and you're going, mine's cold, uh, but hey, I really am grateful that someone made me this cup of tea, and I'm really going to enjoy, and that's all going on almost as a soundtrack in your head.
Yes, exactly. That's right. And it's so funny because our comments, like people are commenting saying, Jenny's saying, I'm doing this right now. And Puma saying, having an intentional mindful experience. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that because you're right. Like when people say you need to be more mindful, I'm thinking, oh great, there's another job I have to do. Like I don't
Yeah,
have
another
time for
thought.
any more.
Exactly. And no more effort, you know?
No more effort. Now, like I can imagine that your business took a bit of a hit in
Mhm.
during COVID, not just because of the pandemic, but because you're in Victoria and like Victoria shut up like a purse with no money in it. I was going to be rude and I went, no, I'm going to be mindful about what I'm saying. So, how did you stay sane through that period? What were some of the strategies that you used to come out and look so vibrantly beautiful?
Oh, thanks, Annette. It's actually one of my core practices that got me through this whole situation, and that is my teaching around impermanence. So, impermanence is a major, major, major Eastern philosophy teaching, and it means that nothing is permanent. So, everything is always changing. And so, when you learn that lesson, you then think, okay, well, if everything is changing, then one day we're going to get out of this mess. But we have to be patient because no one can control anything that's happening right now. And what really kept me going emotionally and spiritually, I think, was the fact that our community at Mirasuna just never gave up on us. Like, just never, never. Like the comments that we got on our socials and the emails and the messages, like, keep going, we really need this. And that support just made me think, you know what, I can't give up now because like people need this more than ever when we come out of COVID. So yeah, I think it
Mm.
was a mixture of like all the lessons that I live by, but also the community coming to support us and telling us that we've just got to keep going. So I don't want to let people down.
Yeah, I really love that. My dog agrees as well. He's saying
Clearly.
yes. Yeah. So, has this been something that you've always done? Like, has this been your passion since you started work, or have you fallen into this through other avenues?
It's so funny. I feel like I've come full circle in my life because I was like, ever since I was young, I was always like really spiritual, never religious. I just always believed that there was something more than myself. And I always pursued that because I didn't believe that life was just, going through the ups and downs every day and feeling that frustration and the stress and the constant hunger for money or the rat race and acquiring things. Like deep down, I always felt like there was something more. And so when I was in my mid teens, that's when I sought my first teacher. And that's when I got into meditation and energy work. And then as you outgrow your teachers, I just continue to get new teachers. So I kind of, to be completely honest, and I share this with my community all the time, is when I got to 21, I completely abandoned my practice because I entered the corporate world and I just started living the life that society told me was important, which was get a good job, get a good education, climb the career ladder, save for a house, get geared up, and that's it, like that's life. And 2 years later, I realized how miserable everyone was and how empty I actually felt deep down. And I didn't want to get to 45 and feel the same way as some people that I had known in my life. So I left Sydney and I moved to Melbourne. And it was then that I met Jean, my first, like my first Buddhist teacher, not my first teacher, but my first Buddhist teacher. And that was sort of when I reconnected with my heritage, being Asian. That's sort of, what I was always told when I was young. So yeah.
That must be hard, because when you have this life that we're being told that we should be living and we must live because this is the expectations, and then going completely the opposite way must have been quite confronting for the people around you.
Yes, it's such a weird shift for people around you as opposed to myself. Because even my husband, he's like, "Where did this all just come from?" And I'm like, "In case you haven't noticed, it's kind of been going on for a while." But when you make it official, it does shock people, and you do very quickly realize who really supports you and who doesn't. And also, I've learned a lot of lessons along the way as well, that some people support you in different ways. It's not always so overtly obvious, and also it's beautiful because this experience has brought me closer to a lot of people that I wouldn't have otherwise been close to. So you just attract the right people at the right time in your life.
Oh, I love that. Now, there's something that you like to do, and I know that you absolutely love dogs, and my dog must
Oh,
have known that because he was barking in the background. But you're part of the Cocker Spaniel Rescue Australia, as a foster parent. That is
yeah.
so cool. So you look after Cocker Spaniels who are ready for their forever home.
So I grew up having dogs my whole life, but unfortunately, after 18 years of having them, both of them passed away in the same year. And my mind became completely traumatized by this experience. And it was so bad that it actually created a hyperallergy in my body. So from that year onwards, I actually couldn't be around dogs anymore. And what happened was I couldn't breathe around them. I would get conjunctivitis in my eyes. I would get rashes. I like literally could not breathe. And things got really bad. So I actually decided to start immunology, which is a 4-year process of jabbing needles in my arm every month, which contains dog dander and protein, which is basically their saliva. And I'm proud to say that I've just finished that as of like 2 months ago, and I get to foster dogs for the Cocker Spaniel Rescue Group because I can breathe now.
Oh my God, that is commitment to puppies.
Yeah, to
Big
saving
time.
animals. One of my life goals is actually to start a puppy or a dog rescue, which is sort of my long-term goal. Yeah.
Oh, I think that's beautiful. Our very loud dog, George, he's a rescue dog, and
Oh, good.
we found him through the RSPCA, but he was being fostered by someone who couldn't commit to having a dog full time, but
Yeah.
really wanted to be able to give back. And I guess that's
Yeah.
another way to demonstrate mindfulness, isn't it? Is that giving back, and it's not
Yeah.
just about being mindful around other human beings. It's all of
Yeah.
the creatures on the planet, and
That's
recognizing
great.
that they all have a part to play.
That's right. We're all connected. And, being kind is about being kind to yourself and all sentient beings, which is, humans, animals, things that we can see, things that we can't see. So, it's our life practice to try and become more and more compassionate to everything we can and can't see.
So, I mean, you're only a new business, but this is something that you're passionate about, you've been doing for a
Mhm.
long time. What is the most exciting thing about what you do?
Oh, I definitely know the answer to this because I experience it on the daily. And it is literally when someone texts me or says to me or says to another person in the room when I'm there, and they say, "You literally changed my life." Like,
Wow.
who even wakes up thinking that they've changed anybody's life? And I'm so incredibly humbled that I could be that person that could even help make the slightest impact to somebody else. Like, that's all I want to do with this. That's every day I wake up, and that is my intention. So it's very special for me when someone says that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't think that people, other people fully realize the impact that they have on others. And while, they may not have changed someone's life, but we do have influence, don't we, over the people around us, especially when we're surrounded by the right people, or maybe
Absolutely.
not when we're not even surrounded by the right people, that when we role model and demonstrate behavior that we want other people to replicate, that's good and
Yeah.
mindful.
Yeah, you just want to inspire other people, right? Like none of us are out there trying to change anyone. I just have the mindset that if we can all be a good person and work on ourselves, then we can inspire other people to be a better version of themselves.
I like that. I'm going to make that a t-shirt.
I'll be buying it.
You'll buy it? Okay. I keep coming up with all of these t-shirt names when I'm talking to people. I probably should write them down, because then I go away and forget. So if someone is looking at incorporating mindfulness into their life, what's the first thing that they should do?
Oh, there's so many angles you could take, but I would say start by not changing your life, as in don't feel like you have to suddenly make time to be somewhere, because it won't happen. So just start by doing whatever you're already doing mindfully. Start with your shower. I love practicing mindfulness in the shower now because my brain is just so active during the day. So when I jump in the shower, I literally anchor my thoughts on one thing that happened during the day. It doesn't have to be a good thing, it could be a neutral thing. But I will just use that thing and I'll think about it over and over again and just try and think, well, what did I say in that moment? What did that person say? How did that make me feel? Could I have done it differently? How did that impact me? How did I impact them? And it's not overthinking, you're simply reflecting. And the reason why this is so important is because normally every day as humans, we spend too much time in the problem solving and analytical capacity of our brain. And the problem with that side, which is juxtaposed with the reflection capability of our brain, is that when you're finally in reflection mode, that's when you can come up with new ideas. And that's when you come up with the aha moments. Like, when like you're on the toilet or you're going for a long drive or at 3 a.m. and you're like, oh my God, I just came up with the answer. That's because your brain has finally dropped into the reflection capability. And so that's where we need to be more, so that we can come up with new ideas on how we want to approach our lives, on what we want to aspire to, what we want to achieve, like how we can be better. But if we don't have time for that, then we will forever just live every day as it is, take it as it comes. And then before you know it, we're going to get old and we're going to be like, what did we do? We don't
And
want
I
that.
guess no, and I guess that's that saying about regret. Like you don't want to be lying on your deathbed
Yeah.
and regret the things that you could have said and you could have done, because nobody lies on their deathbed and go, look at my award trophies, or look at, as I say, as there's one sitting right next to me. It's like, look at mine's so close I could hug it. But what you've just said is that being mindful can be around the really mundane things in life. Like,
Hmm.
I cannot tell you how many great thoughts I've had on the toilet. That
See?
place is the bomb for
In so
for
many ways.
creativity. And so, yes, let's not go there. Oh, Sunday, no, my poo doesn't smell. I'm like,
No,
pure as the driven snow.
I know. It's like flowers. I tell my husband that all the time.
Absolutely. Oh, that's hilarious. So, what is the long-term repercussion of mindfulness? So, if people are
Oh,
going, what are they going to get out of it?
well, really practical stuff to really big personal growth stuff. I'm just going to start with the practical stuff first because, like, I don't know anybody who wouldn't want this stuff. But a lot of people ask me, Sal, how do you get so much crap done during the day? Like actually, how do you tick off 20 things in a day? And how do you do so many things? And I actually tell people that apart from my personality probably being type A, which does help, mindfulness and meditation at a young age until now has actually helped me learn how to become hyper focused. And I didn't realize that I had this until like not that long ago when people started observing it and telling me, because I actually had no idea. Um, But if you are somebody who always feels like you're constantly in a state and you can't get out of it, like if you procrastinate a lot, or if you feel sad a lot and you can't get yourself out of it, or if you feel like you just can't shift your mood and your thoughts and your behavior, this is one of the biggest changes you will witness in your life. It's profound, because the ability that mindfulness and meditation gives you is mind control. And if you have mind control, you can shift yourself in and out of your states of consciousness and mood. So it really does work. I'm just reading these comments. It's so funny.
Yeah, they're great comments, aren't they? You're a superwoman. We're going to get you a cape to go along with your T-shirt. Well, like, that's amazing. What an incredible superpower to have control over your mind, because so many of us just kind of, flit and float through life. Oh, that's not my fault. That person's to blame.
Yeah.
I can't help it. It's not fair. But when you take control of your brain and take those moments to, like, I guess what you're saying is that at the end of the day in your shower, you can be resetting and reflecting.
Yeah.
So that when you go to sleep, you're resting instead of going, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done that. I should have started that earlier.
That's 200% right. And actually, in my sleep techniques class at Mirasuna, I teach people how to calm your mind before you sleep, because so many people don't practice mindfulness before they sleep, and so they can't sleep. They have a really bad quality of sleep, and I don't blame them. Like, if you've got 100 thoughts running through your mind, you're anxious, you've got deadlines, you got this never-ending to-do list, who can sleep?
You know what? I think that's probably one of the most valuable things on the planet. Like, I've been working with a speech pathologist, not for me, but as a client. And her area of specialty is helping to teach young children how to get better night's sleep. And it all starts with your jaw and how you hold your jaw and things like that. But she said the impact on our GDP and on our mental health and on our overall physicality is quite often driven by that bad quality sleep. And some of that's because you're like beating yourself up as you close your eyes.
That's it. It's really horrible. Like, there's so much research around what even one night of bad sleep can do to you, let alone like people who actually never have any sleep. So, my vision is that people learn mindfulness so that they can overall improve their mind, their body, and their spirit, and not just either one of those. And that's why, like, I say so much that Mirasuna is not a yoga studio, because we're not a place where we want to get into poses and work on one aspect of our health. We actually want to work on aligning our mind, body, and spirit so that we ultimately feel happier in life, so that we can have better rest and we're more calm and we can deal with life's challenges in a calm way and not get flustered.
Look, I'm voting you Prime Minister of Australia, because I think that's exactly what all of us need. I've seen some really bad behaviour from, like, people that you're like going, what? And I think this year has thrown us into a spin. And even those people who kind of feel that they've got it together, there's so much anxiousness and overwhelm and uncertainty that I think you've got the answer, girlfriend.
I hope so. I hope more people come and learn the Mirasuna way.
Yeah, I'm going to send them your way. Before you know it, you'll have places all over the country, and I'll have to buy you a helicopter so you can
on
come
top
and
of
hang
my
with me.
on top of my T-shirt.
Yeah, I know. I've made a lot of promises today, haven't I? Oh, Sally, you've been so much fun and just so knowledgeable and so wise. And I really appreciate your time and hanging out with me for half an hour.
Well, I thank you and everybody online who has left us so many amazing comments. I thank you so much for having me and for listening to me talk about mindfulness. And I hope it's going to inspire a few more people in this world.
Me too. And if you want to check out, I'll put the link to Sally's Mirasuna in the comments. Sally Kellet from Mirasuna, thank you so much for joining me on Live with Obsessed.
Thank you so much. See you, everyone. Thanks, Annette.
You're welcome. And everybody else, we'll see you next time.